So here we are again, Dealernews Live, the Ignition Studios on the show floor of AIMExpo with a hero and legend of the industry and now an altruist with Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. Larry Little, how have you been and what's going on?
Hey, I've been great, and I'm really happy to be back here at the show. It's been a couple of years since I've been here, and I've been great living in North Carolina now, enjoying the roads back there. And but I'm still on the board of the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation as a board member on the national board. And we came to the show this week because we're rolling out something to the industry to try and get people's perception of what we do a lot more tight. And we need more funding to get the kids with brain tumors a better future. So what we've done here, a little bit about the foundation, a lot of people may not know, is that it was actually started, the first ride was in 1984 when a Atlanta newspaper man named Mike Trainer had a colleague whose daughter got diagnosed with a brain tumor. He was a motorcyclist, so he did what most motorcyclists would do. He said, hey, we're doing a ride to raise money for the local hospital. And believe it or not, in 1984, they raised $4,000 in 1984 dollars. So it was a very successful first ride. And Mike, I think, did another one the next year. And after that, I think he realized that he had found his calling. And so he expanded over the next years to almost 40 rides across the United States. And in 1991, recognizing that they were actually raising a lot of money for the cause, he established the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So there was a framework for him to do a lot better job of vetting where the money was going and making other people aware of what they were doing. So I joined the board in 2003, I think it was. And when I was publisher at Cycle World magazine, we were raising money for the cause, and have watched a pretty amazing transition for the foundation because Mike passed away in 2009. And if you knew Mike, you knew what a driving force he was and what made the foundation successful. I always called him a Pied Piper because when he came and asked you to do something, you weren't going to do anything but go with him. So he passed in 2009 and Diane passed in 2000. His wife passed in 2012. And the foundation transitioned from a founder-led organization to really being led by the board. And I'd say the board makeup that back at that time was probably all motorcycle related people because that's where his primary funding came from. And over the years, myself and Chuck Boderman, who's retired from Honda, is the only other motorcyclist on the board. We have a bunch of other, actually very fortunate, a bunch of other New York-based financial executives that have joined the board with good Rolodexes, so we've been benefiting great by them. But they are all, the rest of them are almost all parents of children who have had a brain tumor and survived or passed away. So it gives a lot more meaning to the mission. But over that 40 years of Ride for Kids, what we found, and you know this because you've been to them, is that it really showcased the compassion of the motorcycle and power sports community. And we've seen how things go with the foundation and how we raise money have kind of evolved as much as the market itself has evolved. It's gone up and down. And what we've discovered in the last couple of years, there's a lot more companies that are looking for, we used to do event sponsorships, sponsor a ride for kids, blah, blah, blah. It's just like a race or whatever. But what we're seeing now are people are asking to get a closer attachment to the mission. So we call it really going for an event sponsorship to mission partnership is what we're doing. And I met with a number of companies at the show here who are looking exactly for that. How do we engage our employees? How do we make our business more closer to the mission? And I think a good example is that for about almost 5 years now, 4 years, I think it is, we've done exactly that with Komodo, where they've engaged their employee base. They've engaged the resource of the cycle gear stores with Rever, the online app, the riding app, all for the foundation. And one day a year, they donate 10% of the proceeds of sales on a specific day, usually in September during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, to the foundation up to a certain level. So they've been a great partner and a great example of how it's not really they don't get any sponsorship out of it. It's more all altruistic in that terms of it's really a corporate responsibility from that perspective, a charitable and giving their employees an opportunity. So we've been here at the show, rolling out a thing that we're trying to bring all these things together, since we still do have the legacy rides, the tent pole rides where you pay your $35 and you go on a lead ride, but that's less than it's ever been. And this other stuff has developed. So at the show, we're trying to bring our awareness level with the industry up. So we've announced, and the release went out yesterday, about the All for $1 million challenge that we're going to combine everything that the industry does for Ride for Kids. And hopefully by the end of the year, all those different things, whether it's rides or there's a lot of people that do it yourself rides. They get their buddies together, just like Mike Trainer did. And whether it's the types of things that Komodo does. So we're looking for more partners in that, and so we can have more examples for the industry, but really raise, the brand awareness level of what Ride for Kids is done, not only for kids with brain tumors, but also for the industry.
And that industry connection's always been there. It was Honda's charity of choice. It was your choice at Psycho World. We believe in the mission, but it does seem probably 2-3 years ago, the decisions and things changed. Now you're back. The logo looks a little different, but the mission now back on point, and motorcycles are key to making that happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, they never really left. I think that we struggled and survived through COVID, which a lot of charities couldn't say that actually happened for them. But we're a much different organization when we came out the other side. And I think that's why you didn't see as much of us perhaps over the last few years. Nothing really changed. The rides were still there. But, now we recognize now that there's a power in this market where, it started with, one event in one community and has evolved into a nationwide compassion because of motorcyclists. And a really interesting fact that most people don't realize is that when Ride for Kids was at its highest points in the terms of number of rides in 40 different markets across the country, each of those rides had a media manager and interfaced with the local media and put a very compassionate face on motorcyclists at a time when they had a stereotype that really wasn't that, and did a lot for the market at that time. And it was a great side benefit that people never really recognized. But everybody that's in this industry realizes that the community is very compassionate. So we're just trying to showcase it, put it all together so that we can really, like I say, really go into that end point of, creating mission partnerships with people.
Well, I did get the announcement. It went out on the website last night, and it'll go out in Friday's e-blast to everybody with some of the other post-show coverage. So it is top of mind for us at Dealernews.
Yeah, and we appreciate all that I know you personally have done for the mission over the years, and reporting on it and participating. So we look forward to that maybe in different ways in years to come too, but still involved in the industry.
Well, and that keeping you involved in it and keeping Chuck off the streets are important things to me as well. So let's make sure that you guys stay with it and keep providing a steady hand on the tiller for the money people.
I think we will, because it's once you've met the kids, and I remember when this show was the indie show, and at Cycle World we used to have a big industry dinner, and we would bring a kid who we'd given a scholarship to in every year to talk to the industry, and you could hear a pin drop in that room because it was so impactful to the audience that this kid that had a brain tumor would stand up there and tell you that his life probably was for the better because he had a brain tumor, because he found so many different things that he never would have found. So,
and that's that strange dichotomy makes it so powerful.
Yes. But as I said at the beginning and at the end, it's a compassionate business. And I'll kind of leave you with one thought. About 15 years ago, the foundation would put on symposiums for researchers that we had given grants to do research against the disease. And we made them come together in a symposium, which researchers really don't want to share their work. We forced them to share their work. And they found that there was a synergy there they would have never got without that symposium. But the point of this is I heard a woman speak who was with the National Institutes of Health, which used to be a big government funder of research. But she said, what we have to realize is that it's an amazingly difficult disease. And she goes, let me give you the story. She goes, in 1969, we put a man on the moon. And the next week, Time magazine cover said, we put men on the moon. What's next? Curing cancer? And she goes, what you have to realize is there's more than 120 different types of brain tumors in kids. And so to cure cancer from that perspective, we would have had to have sent 120 different men to 120 different moons all at the same time to cure cancer. So that gives you an idea of the scope of the mission and what we're up against and why it deserves a lot more support than it's get, because the government funds less than 5% of the research to pediatrics. It's all adult brain tumors. So it's up to us to help those kids.
Well, and again, we're the right people. We have the best people within this industry anywhere in the universe.
So thank you very much for the opportunity to share that.
Thank you, Larry.